Arsenal received new handball VAR verdict after controversial Bournemouth goal. Former Premier League referee Keith Hackett has revealed why he believes Bournemouth's second goal against Arsenal was right to stand. Evanilson completed the second-half turnaround at Emirates Stadium in controversial fashion after a Huijsen header cancelled out Declan Rice's opener. Mikel Arteta's side had the chance to all but confirm Champions League football for next season with a victory, but the defeat has seen them start looking over their shoulders, with Manchester City just 3 points behind and Newcastle United having the chance to move 2 away from their tally of 67. The gap could quite easily have instead been 3 if Evanilson's goal was disallowed for handball. Following a flick on at the front post, the 25-year-old bundled the ball home, with many believing it struck his elbow. However, VAR did not overturn the decision, as confirmed by the Premier League Match Center on X. Arteta was asked for his verdict on the controversial decision after the game, with the Arsenal boss, unsurprisingly, not giving too much away. "I've just seen a few images and it looked very different to the decision, but they made that decision," he said at a press conference. Pushed further on the incident, with a similar moment that went against Arsenal brought up, Arteta replied, "I wasn't because that happened today, but I prefer not to comment on that." Despite their grievances, Hackett has explained why he thought the officials came to the correct conclusion. "I have studied the various angles on this goal and the involvement of the goal scorer, Evanilson," he told Football Insider. "It was right that the goal was checked carefully by the VAR, Michael Salisbury. There is no conclusive evidence that the ball was handed before it went into the goal. The outcome, therefore, was the correct decision. It's pretty ironic that the goal scorer was wrongly sent off last week and after an appeal was allowed to play in this game and scored. It is unlikely Arsenal will stew on the decision for too long, though, as focus will very quickly need to be shifted to their Champions League semi-final second leg away at Paris Saint-Germain." Every word Mikel Arteta said on Arsenal defeat, Bournemouth VAR call, Timber Fitness in PSG. Mikel Arteta was understandably not in a good mood following Arsenal's defeat to Bournemouth in the Premier League. It could not have been a worse preparation ahead of the trip to Paris, with the only redeeming factor was no one was injured on the day. Declan Rice and William Saliba stood out among the rest, who were rather lacking in urgency and verve. Controversy covered the winning goal, with replays showing the ball coming off Evanilson's arm before going in the net, and he gave his thoughts on how this might or might not affect the game with PSG. Here is every word from Arteta's post-match press conference. "We started, and we needed a more difficult one to score the goal. After that, we had 4 or 5 very open situations to score the second one. We didn't kill it, and after that, on top of that, you defend the box really poorly, the way we've done it in the 2 set pieces that we have conceded again. So they're going to punish you, a team like Bournemouth, they're going to punish you. After that, the game becomes rushed, very chaotic. That's why they want big spaces. They have more legs than us, especially we said some players that were struggling in the final minutes, and we weren't able to get the result that we wanted, so we're very disappointed. I think every game probably would have a different answer to that. Certainly what happened today is that you defend the way we've done. Very few set pieces, but very poorly. In the league, you're going to get punished. It doesn't matter if you're ahead or behind in the scoreline. And that momentum that came from Bournemouth in the second half, how do you make sure that doesn't creep into the PSG game? Well, we certainly wanted to create a really good vibe. A positive result would really help us to build what we wanted towards Wednesday. So what we have created now is a lot of rage, anger, frustration, and a bad feeling in the tummy. So make sure that we use that for Wednesday to have a massive performance in Paris, win the game, and be in the final." Did you notice that Luis Enrique rested his whole team today, all apart from João Neves? That's a huge advantage for him, I guess, that you expected. Well, I don't know. They won the league, so they have the luxury to do that. We haven't, because we still have a lot to do in the Premier League. But we have 4 days, and I'm sure we'll be fully recovered and our best to play the game. Do you still think you have a lot to do in the Premier League? I just wonder if you may be, worst case, looking over your shoulder a little bit for top 5 now. Well, we have a lot to do, yes, because mathematically we are not qualified. We haven't had the right to finish second yet, so we still have a lot to do. Is there any sense that as the gap to Liverpool opened, and it looked less like the title was attainable? Have you noticed any difference in the domestic performances, where the motivation perhaps in the Champions League, where that trophy is there to chase? Do you notice any differences in the league? We try not to. I think that's something very, very individual. The way we have prepared the game, and today we talked about a lot of things that we had to do against a very good opposition that were very necessary to win the game. We certainly missed the most important one, which is defending the box, because we did it poorly 3 times. Very poorly. 1 in the first half and 2 in the second half, and it cost us the points. That's the reality. In pre-match, we talked a little bit about the rules and how perhaps they have changed across the season. We saw earlier in the season, Havertz, the ball slightly glanced his arm as it went in, I think against Aston Villa, and it was ruled out. This game, it looks from the replays like the ball does strike Evanilson's arm, and yet it's given. Is that kind of what you were alluding to before the game? I wasn't, because that happened today, but I prefer not to comment on that. Because you've done so well in the Champions League, is the recent struggle results in the league potentially impacted by the focus in the Champions League? Have you maybe took an eye off the ball in the Premier League anyway, do you think? Again, our preparation has been exactly the same, not even more. I'm trying to put more emphasis into it. The margins are very small. It's true that maybe we lacked, I don't know, maybe a little bit of freshness in the way they have to repeat today. They have to play some players that probably they were in the best condition to play, because we don't have all those players. But that's it. That's the context that we have. It must be quite frustrating, though. I know you've still got points gap, and you should hopefully in your position finish second, but with the team chasing you now, it must be quite a bit of frustration too again. Yeah, every time you don't win a game, especially when you lose, you are very frustrated. And as I said before, that rage, that frustration, that anger, and that bad feeling that we have in the tummy, make sure that we use it to have a big performance on Wednesday and be in the final. Mikel, you've been praised a lot this season for scoring from set pieces, but obviously conceding 2 tonight. I think you've conceded 12 league goals from set pieces this season, which is the 3rd worst. Is that an issue that you need to sit down with the team and address, or do you think it's just bad luck? It's not only what you score, it's the difference in gap between the ones that you score and the ones that you conceded. And we have conceded a lot, especially recently, which are costing us a lot of points. That's clear, and that's everybody's responsibility. But as well today to the opposition, today they've done it really well. If somebody's able to throw the ball in the middle of the goal to a guy that is taller than anybody else and he hits the ball in the back of the net, we really want to do better, but it's difficult. In the first half, towards the end of the first half, I noticed you seem to be getting really frustrated with the team's sloppiness at the back. Is that a concern as well going to PSG? Because we know how good their front 3 is, but at times your team seems to be losing the ball in quite silly spaces. Today, in many situations, we are giving balls away that is nowhere near the standard that we're quite certain of. In terms of fitness-wise, are you confident that Jurien will be okay for Wednesday? Number confident? At the moment, no, because he wasn't able to play here and we played him for 4 days.